What's up, peers, and welcome to Bitcoin to the Max here on the World Crypto Network. Let's talk about the thing that will consume all the energy emitted by the sun. Let's talk about the thing that will kill polar bears because of the rising sea levels. And let's talk about the thing that wastes so much energy that we could have used much better for kitty videos. Well, let's talk about proof of work. This is a theoretical construct that was not invented by Satoshi Nakamoto, but rather a hero of Bitcoin himself and a true cypherpunk who's still with us and still fighting strong, Adam Back, who has invented proof of work in order to prevent email spam in the 1990s with Hashcash. And of course, Satoshi Nakamoto has utilized this theory to make Bitcoin such a beautiful technology. Basically, proof of work relies on the SHA-256 hashing algorithm, a mathematical function that, when computed over a given input, generates a one-way fingerprint that is rather random to this input. So the same input always hashes to the same output, and it is computationally infeasible to calculate out with only the given output the corresponding input. And in a sense that when you only change one bit of the input, a completely, apparently random new output is being generated. And the ingenious idea that Adam came up with is that you could set a specific difficulty target and say that a input is only valid once its hash is below this certain value. Or other put, that the hash of this input starts with several zeros, right? And what this makes you do is that you cannot calculate backwards and start with output that is below this difficulty target and generate the corresponding input, but rather you have to try out which input actually hashes below this difficulty target. And you can do this with simply iterating the input and changing one bit at a time and hashing it and seeing if the target is met or not. And this means that you will have to do computational work in order to eventually, per random luck and by chance, find an input that hashes below this difficulty target. And with this, you can basically generate a unique piece of information, a non-scarce good that has some special attributes. And you can thus kind of prove that you have done work in order to find this input or this information. And in Bitcoin specifically, this is used in order to prevent the double spending, in order to make sure that we have a uniform ordering mechanism of all these, of all the transactions proposed in the network. So a miner takes a input, which is the candidate block with the corresponding block header and all the transactions in a Merkle tree structure, and a little nonce. And the miner then hashes this input, the candidate block, iterating the nonce and trying to find a hash value that is below the difficulty target. And only a block that has a difficulty target below, which was agreed upon in consensus, is considered to be a valid block. And that is basically proof of work. Just a lot of random calculations until you find a valid input. And the interesting part here is the difficulty adjustment itself, which is such a complex and phenomenal invention that Satoshi Nakamoto then has implemented in Bitcoin, that it deserves an entire new video on its own. And we will talk about that tomorrow on Bitcoin to the Max, a show that is sponsored to you by, well, you, the peers of the World Crypto Network. And I thank you for your support. at tallyco.in/HillebrandMax, where you can get early access to this show for a small donation in a couple Satoshis. And I thank you very much for that, and I see you on the next show. Bye-bye.